Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, the dorky token black guy that's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of Token 10. My top 10 list on a particular subject matter, and this Token 10 is brought to you by the Street Fighter Flashback. In celebration of the 30-year anniversary of Street Fighter, I'm taking it upon myself to share my memories of playing the game in the arcades or in the home console, and share my feelings and review other Street Fighter related media. So, I am continuing my top 10 list of the Shoto characters in the Street Fighter series. Now, if you don't know what a Shoto is, basically, you can go to the intro of the first part of the Token 10 Street Fighter Shotos, and I'll send the link down below. But right now, I want to jump into number 5, Alan Schneider from the EX series. Now, it's funny. I find the EX series as a guilty pleasure. It's not great, but I do find enjoyment in playing it. And a lot of the people that I've spoken to, basically, not only in my area, but also in Staten Island and Manhattan, and even in Jersey, the people that love EX, one character that they always bring up is Alan Schneider. And it's great knowing that I'm not alone, but what gives Alan Schneider an appeal? Quite frankly, Alan Schneider is actually one of the most American karate practitioners you will find in any video game. You know, as a former martial artist myself, and someone who thrives in loving karate, you know, I find that basically a lot of times, you know, most people that portray karate in an American sense, it's normally displayed not as favorably and everything, you know. The best portrayal of karate is the original version of Karate Kid, and there's others and everything, but they're kind of few and far, you know. Alan Schneider actually represents something that's really fun and really cool, and, you know, it gives you this sense of pride that, you know, you're able to use this character whom has not been to another continent at all, but still is able to have, like, you know, his fighting moveset similar to the Ansatsuken style and everything, you know, which, yes, basically Ansatsuken is an offshoot of other karate styles. However, you know, not all of them are actually executed or created in Asian culture. And basically, the moveset that Alan Schneider has is kind of similar to Goken with his, like, you know, dragon punch and his energy projection, but he has his own take on it, and to be honest, it's actually pretty well grounded, you know. Like, I love that basically, like, you know, instead of like stating Shoryuken as he's doing his Dragon Punch move, he just flat out says Rising Dragon, and instead of basically doing a Hadouken, which translates to Energy Wave, he just says Soul Force, which, you know, he's using part of his soul and everything to actually use that projection and everything, which is actually pretty cool. Plus, I love his Justice Fist move and his triple break. You know, this exemplifies, like, you know, some form of traditional karate mixed with the freestyle nuance that Ansatsuken has and everything, and that Ken ends up utilizing in the Street Fighter 3 series a little bit more. Number 4, Dude. So, everyone knows Dude, but for some reason, a lot of people mispronounce his freaking name. You know, it's not Ryu, it's not Ryu, it's not Ryu, it's Dude. You can't hear it in the animes, people. What's so hard about pronouncing his name? Anyway, the protagonist of the series comes in at number 4. Why so low? Well, here's the thing, you know, technically he's not really low because he's still in the upper echelons, but Dude comes off as being bland as a character. Yes, you know, you see him struggling to basically fight off the Satsuno Hadu and trying to embrace the path of nothingness and become a true martial arts warrior, you know, and that's cool enough, and it got stale over a while. So that's why he's kind of low, but still, we cannot deny that he is an actual cool character, you know, with his traditional color of a gi and everything, utilizing a red headband, and to top it off, like, you know, his moveset is so basic, so, like, you know, straightforward, but executed beautifully. And to be honest, you know, ever since Street Fighter 4, I prefer to use Ryu mainly because of his Shin Shoryuken. Because that Shin Shoryuken is badass. It was cool enough seeing it in Street Fighter 3, but with Ken utilizing kicks in the Shin Shoryuken and everything, it doesn't have that same pizzazz or that same effect that now the Shin Shoryuken has in Street Fighter 4 and beyond, you know. And to top it off, I cannot deny that, like, you know, even with using the Hadouken and everything, I do love, you know, pulling off the Shinku Hadouken, and also, like, after I got some better practice, you know, hitting somebody with the Daijin Hadouken and making them stun and everything is just very refreshing, you know. And his basic moveset is still fun to use, and while you can't do, like, you know, elaborate combos off this basic moveset, it's still fun to utilize his, like, basically his hook punches, his basically, like, you know, overhand punch, and his spinning hook kick, you know. So while being the lead protagonist and while appearing low on my list compared to most, Ryu is still a force to be reckoned with. Number 3, Shawn from the Street Fighter 3 series. Now, when I saw Street Fighter 3 coming out, few people caught my attention quick. The first one was Shawn, you know, for obvious personal reasons for those that know me in person. But in addition to that, Shawn represented basically a karate practitioner from the streets in his initial appearance. Later on, he became basically, you know, the joke character of the Street Fighter 3 series, but despite that, you know, Shawn has this personality and has this charisma about him. He is not this stoic, stern, you know, martial artist. He is a rookie. He is someone that has just become enthralled in the, in the world of martial arts by watching Ken. However, unlike Sakura, who is a prodigy, Shawn is somebody that, like, needs time to hone his skills and is basically, like, you know, going off visual representations and not as much training or stern training or strict training that Sakura had from Ryu in a couple of months. Shawn is utilizing movesets that he's seen, and he's practicing them mostly on his own and doing a decent job of pulling them off from, like, you know, what little training that he has. And Shawn seems determined to pull this off and mastering this thing. However, martial arts don't consume Shawn, as, like, Shawn is an avid sports fan, particularly with basketball, you know. And, you know, with Street Fighter 3 putting things more on more street level, you know, you're really seeing things from the streets. Shawn displays this by being an avid basketball fan. And basketball is greatly linked to urban culture. And as well, if you pay closer attention, Shawn's hairstyle, you know, his, like, you know, dreads in, like, you know, the upper area right here with his head shaved and his, like, you know, pierced ear, you know, Shawn displays that, you know, he's a upcoming martial artist directly from the streets that is more than eager to be part of this world, which is pretty awesome. Number 2, Goken. I am surprised that Goken is this high on the list. But here's the thing, you know, for somebody that's a martial arts master and instructor, you know, as a mentor, Goken has a lot of things going for him. You know, he trained his pupils to not be carbon copies of him. You know, he trained them the 3 main techniques that most Ansatsuken stylists utilize, the Tatsumaki Senbukyaku, Hadouken, and Shoryuken, but he actually showed them to do it in a way that is not just going to mirror his, you know. And Goken actually, he has this, warmth about him. While Ryu, wandering the world, could come off as someone that's antagonistic and not approachable, Goken was highly approachable and is very much willing to basically give insights or wisdom or life-like experiences and everything. So Goken is the type of person that you can easily relate to and easily talk to. In addition, unlike other mentors, Goken displays that basically he's not the type that will sit back and have his students do all the work. No. Goken will instruct you in person, will fight, will spar with you, will spar against you, and will fight alongside you as well too. So Goken is very much an active mentor and a type of mentor that basically is very strict and stern, but is more modernized. He's able to take the good things of the old while modernize everything to the current times. And so Goken displays that he's more than just your mentor. He's the type of person that will lead you and be your friend and want you to go on, So that's why Goken is so high on the list. And, most of the things about his personality I described are not really that much displayed on Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 in his little cameo. That comes from his extended appearances in other media, which I will go more into depth with when I end the Street Fighter flashback. So, who is number 1? The red shirt didn't give it away, and the other 2 characters for number 3 and 2 did not give that away. Well, if you haven't guessed it, number 1, Ken Masters. Ken, the sparring partner and rival of Ryu and everything, basically utilizing utilizing the basics of Ansatsuken, Ken puts his own personal spin on things, utilizing kicks more and being a little more flashier. However, what fascinates me about Ken is that basically, Ken is, half Japanese himself, so he's basically more American than Japanese. But in addition, he has a fun personality. While he could be a bit cocky and conceited at times, that does not basically take away that, he has a good personality and a good heart and is very fun-loving. However, he is also a very fierce competitor, and as well, basically, his spin on the Ansatsuken side is actually, quite frankly, the most creative, utilizing fire techniques within his moves, mainly with the Shoryuken, and, as you see in the Tatsumaki and Bukyaku. Ken is also one to, experiment more. He is not one to, just stick to basically what he's directly taught. He is well and willing to go out and basically fight in various areas and everything at a young age. And, eventually he became a father and a husband and settled down, but still has the joy of the fight within him and wants to express that. So I can go on and on about some of my similarities to Ken, but I'll do that when I talk about the last segment of the Street Fighter flashback. But those are my top 10 Street Fighter characters that are Shoto fighters. Agree? Disagree? Drop me a comment below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave, Twitter, Token Dave 80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, the Token Black guy who's just trying to get by, and I'll catch you guys later.